Hey everyone, welcome back to Red Lipstick Reality TV. We're back for episode 3 of Sister Wives. If you're new here, hey you guys, welcome to the Red Lipstick Club. I'm happy to have you here. Hit the subscribe button if you want to come back, join us for some fun. We talk about everything reality TV. Right now though, we're a little bit focused on Sister Wives. So if you love the Sister Wives, this is the place to be. Also, make sure you hit the like button if you're already a member of the Red Lipstick Club, or even if you're new, hit the like button. It really helps me with pushing out my content to everybody that loves Red Lipstick Club, loves the Sister Wives, and honestly just loves to have a good time. So thank you for coming back. Shout out, first off, I gotta start. The first time I've ever had somebody in public come up to me and ask me if I'm on YouTube, which kind of threw me off a little bit. I almost was like, am I on YouTube? Which is kind of hilarious. Like I remember sitting there and I was like, are you on YouTube? I remember asking myself this in my head as if I don't know that I do YouTube. I feel like sometimes you do these videos, you don't realize that actual human beings are watching you in public, like in the world. So yeah, so you guys are obviously real because one of my phenomenal Red Lipstick Club members that lives here in Phoenix spotted me out this weekend. I was seeing my niece perform, and her daughter was also performing in the exact same show. So thank you. I'm pretty sure your name is Jen. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure you said it was Jen. If not, let me know in the comments. But thank you so much for taking time to say hey to me. Hi. I was there with my family seeing the performance in 110-degree weather in Phoenix. That's how you know you love kids, because your girl would not have been out there for any other reason. But thank you for saying hey. And like, that's the first time anybody's ever recognized me in public. So it was kind of hilarious to me because I was like, oh my God, I can't pretend that I'm not on YouTube. I actually am on here. And somebody recognized me. I don't know why I never thought that would happen, but it happened. So thank you. It's so sweet. I love seeing you. But anyway, you guys, welcome back. I'm so glad you love the show. I'm so glad you tune in each week. This episode was just FYI, I did take time to do my WTF moments of the episode or the week. I had, how many did I have? I think I had like 4. I probably could have had 10, but we're not doing all that. It's a lot of clips. But I definitely did have 4. So we're going to talk about it. We're definitely going to highlight those clips. And I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. But, okay, Cody. Segment 1, y'all. Okay, first off, the episode, season 19, episode 3. The episode is called Am I My Brother's Keeper? I don't know why. This is an odd title. Because, frankly, none of the brown boys were featured in this episode. So I thought that was an odd title. You guys let me know in the comments, why do you feel they chose the title Am I My Brother's Keeper? It was a very odd title to me. I immediately cannot connect it back. So let me know why you feel they titled this episode that, because I'm very confused. Anyway, segment 1, y'all. It starts off with you in Utah. They're talking about this mystery wedding. We all know it's Logan's wedding. I am not shocked at all that Logan and his fiance are like, we don't want any parts of Sister Wives. We do not want our wedding on Sister Wives. Sorry, y'all, you're not about to make a buck off of us or our wedding. And I'm totally here for it. So everyone's, as you'll hear me say, they say the bride and groom. You guys, I am not about to say the bride and groom for all this commentary. We clearly all know it's Logan and his wife. That's so when they refer to in the episode to bride and groom, the wedding, it's Logan's wedding. Logan obviously did not want his wedding featured. I totally understand. This really demonstrates to us how far back, y'all, this was filmed. This is in 2022. How long ago were we talking about the photos that were taken at this wedding? This is a long time ago. I don't know why Sister Wives thinks that they can just sit around and like go back to 2 years ago as if we don't know what's happening now. This cannot sustain. As far as content's concerned, this cannot sustain them talking about weddings and things that happened 2 years ago. I don't know if they're going to speed it up or what they're going to do, but you cannot be 2 years behind when it comes to reality TV. It's very odd. And it's really hard to follow and be as invested when you already know the outcome of like 9 out of 10 of the things they're talking about. It's like, it just doesn't feel real to me because of that. Which brings up my first WTF moment. Let's hop that in right now.
The person who's getting married specifically asked Cody and I to come. It's a little tense. I am a bit concerned about Saul and Ara getting sort of caught up in that. I don't want them to get hurt.
Okay, y'all. Robyn making up the false narrative surrounding Solomon and Ari. Her continuously shielding these kids from like the reality of their actual situation and basically painting like a different picture and making it look as if their siblings don't want to have a relationship with them, that this is just some fabricated relationship, that no one wants them there, that nobody wants them around, when in fact it's Robyn. I am watching how she is handling Solomon and Ari. And I think about really age gap relationships that occur where parents have a second set of children and it's basically like the first set are left behind or they're not connected. A perfect example of that is Hugh Hefner when he had like his first wife and he had his daughter who ended up like running the Playboy Enterprise, and then he had his second set of kids with his one of the playmates he ended up marrying, and he had 2 boys with her. The age gap between those two is like 40 years. By the time those second kids came around, it's like 40 plus years. You don't see as many women having those big age gaps as you do men having big age gaps like that between kids. When you have those age gaps, which was nothing compared to what it really could have been. I mean, when Solomon was born, the oldest was Logan. And how old was Logan? 16 or so when Solomon was born. Logan was still in the home. You had plenty of time to make a connection, to build a relationship with Solomon and Logan. And also, Logan stayed in Vegas to go to school. You had ample opportunity to make sure that those two specifically had a connection because the age gap was so great. So Robyn trying to make Solomon and Ari victims in this situation, it's hard for me, y'all. Typically, I see kids as they are usually the victims. Like, they don't have any control. And this has nothing to do with Ari and Solomon. They have absolutely no control, no say over what's going on. All of my criticism is specifically focused and targeted on Cody and Robyn. Because it is pretty clear and evident that Robyn went out of her way to separate her children from the rest of the family. And you have seen multiple wives now speak to that separation. And she has yet to take any real accountability or acknowledgement. And she's basically trying to blame the last years of during COVID on this separation. That separation had already started occurring. Those older children already felt a separation and a gap from Robyn's kids before COVID even happened. COVID just made it worse. It just gave Cody an excuse to separate himself even more from those kids. So, Robyn, when I tell you I'm WTFing you in that moment, like, girl, cut it. They ultimately in segment 1 bring up the last family wedding that everybody was at, which was Aspen and Mitch, which is a beautiful wedding, mind you. That's about 4 or 5, I think it's like at least 6. If they said it was 4 years ago in 2022, that's like almost 7 years ago now that wedding happened. And it's interesting because all of them were saying how great the family was at that point, how Christine and Cody were doing well. And I was thinking, like, it's no coincidence that they were, doing well at this time because it was before they moved to Flagstaff, which means Cody at that point was love bombing to death out of Christine to convince her to move.
It's just so painful to think of where we were at back then, at least where I thought we were at. I don't know. I don't even know anymore what's real anymore.
Aspen got married a month and a half, 6 weeks before we moved to
No,
Flagstaff.
of course it's going to be the best. Because this is when he's love bombing her. This is when he's trying to convince her to move to Flagstaff. This is when he's convincing Mary to sell her home and to invest her money into the family and move to Flagstaff. Janelle uproot her kids that were miserable and did not want to move. All of this is happening during this time and period, during which Cody was basically gaslighting all of the women to believe that their relationships were going to be better, greater. What does Mary always say? A new chance or a fresh start. That's never happening. But he's gaslighting all these women. When a man is putting the extra effort to gaslight you to do something he wants you to do because he's being manipulative, of course it's going to feel fantastic. And I'm wondering, looking back on this moment, if Christina's ever looked back and said, "Oh, it was good, sure, but the only reason it was good is because this man knew I had to be in a really good space in order for me to be comfortable uprooting my life, selling my home, getting rid of my estate to invest in the family and move to Flagstaff. Otherwise, why would Christine move, right?" I thought that was very interesting to me, that point, and I don't know if they really spoke about that in depth or really looked deeper into that. But it was just funny to me that they brought up how everybody was happy, and I was like, yeah, because Cody was not Cody. Cody was gaslighting Cody. Cody was Cody trying to convince his wives that he didn't give a damn about to move to a different state, Cody. So, different situation. So, they're all in Vegas for this wedding, obviously because it's Logan's wedding. They live in Vegas. And then you guys remember in the photos that were leaked during that time, it showed Janelle, Christine, all their kids on one side. I believe Mary was like one or two back, maybe, and then Cody and Robyn on the other side. So now we're hearing what was really happening and occurring during that time period, how they felt in that moment. When we first saw those photos, it felt like breaking news because it was so far ahead of where the show was that we were getting information about what was happening. I guarantee y'all, I don't think we really would have been as invested in season 17 and 18, primarily season 17, when I believe those photos kind of launched, because that was about 2 years ago. I don't think we would have been as invested in Sister Wives had some of those things not been leaked, because it really highlighted for us that there was a separation clearly between Janelle and Cody because they were at their kid's wedding. And typically, at any of the other weddings that they were at for their children, the parents of the kids would sit together. At Logan's wedding, they did not. So that was confirmation for us when we saw those leaked photos that more than likely Janelle and Cody were no longer together. It felt like exciting breaking news then. Right now, it just feels like, great, we already know this. Again, you guys are way too delayed in this show. You guys cannot be 2+ years delayed on a reality TV show when we're able to follow you online and get all this information real time. So it's odd to me. It's kind of honestly taking away from the energy of the show, to be quite frank. I will say this. Janelle talked about the wedding being bittersweet, and because they basically, it always felt like there was this like air of discomfort. That's going to happen when you're dealing with a whole bunch of divorces, a whole bunch of separation, bad feelings, mixed feelings. That's basically what you're going to get, and it's unfortunate. I think about Logan and the parentification of Logan. And I have still yet to hear an apology from Janelle, from Cody, about how they parentified Logan and how that really impacted him. And I doubt if Logan would ever call it out and say, you guys parentified me and it was unacceptable. Maybe he's done it in private, but he's such a good kid. I just don't see him ever holding them accountable for that. Logan, I'm going to do that for you. This is also for Aspen. For McKelty, this is also for you and Robyn, because that we'll talk about that wackadoodle relationship later. But when I look at Logan and I look at Aspen and I look at the parentification that occurred with both of them, and how not one mom or father has taken any level of accountability when it comes to those two, it is no coincidence that both of those children, although they are married, and they finally have a spouse that's looking out for them, caring only for them, protecting and loving only them, neither one of them have children yet. It's no shock to me. And I don't know if it's a shock to any of y'all, but I just found it interesting. Let me see. Okay, let me revert back. I have to. So, anyway, I just thought that was something to call out about this wedding. How Janelle kept saying it was bittersweet. Mary feels like she's kind of floating again in the situation. She said that she was kind of talking to the people that would talk to her. I would love to tell me how you guys feel about this, and maybe it's just me. I would really like to see a sit down starting out with Mary and Janelle.
Being at the wedding was a little bit awkward just because there are some people in the family that don't really want to interact with me. I'm kind of in the middle of this breakup. It's just kind of weird. You know what I mean? But
because the miscommunication between the two, where they're not talking or they're not friends, I'll be honest with y'all, I think a lot of it stems from their weird relationships with Cody. And if they're both not in a relationship with Cody, I don't see why they can't have a better relationship. Where are the hurt feelings still coming from at this point? And if Janelle's still holding on to this, then to me, Janelle is dishonest with how she handles emotions and the dismissive nature in which she tends to brush things under the carpet, but she really isn't brushing it under the carpet. She just holds it against you for a very long time and ignores you. So I'm very curious with Janelle, how mad are you really still at Mary? Are you still holding on to stuff from 30 years ago? Because it feels to me like most of the strife and the angst that you guys had really came down to Cody and how Cody managed those relationships and how he ultimately pitted you two against each other. If you're both not with him, what are y'all still mad about? And why can't Mary just have a relationship with you? Christine and Mary are totally separate, but Christine and Janelle, I don't understand why they can't have a good relationship. I really want to know what is going on with that. Now, if that has to do with Mary and Maddie, it's interesting to me that the two oldest daughters of Christina and Janelle, Mary would have an issue with. And I'm not saying that Mary is completely absolved of responsibility, but I'm also not saying that Maddie and McKelty are either, because I just find it interesting that there's some strife and some angst right there. I would love to see a sit down. Where is Iyanla Van Zant when you need her? I would love to see a sit down with Janelle, Christine, and Mary. I would love to throw all the older daughters, not the guys, because I feel like the men are pretty transparent. Peyton, to me, is overly emotional on another level, but we'll talk about that later as well. But I'd love to see us sit down with the three OGs, and then I'd like to bring in Aspen, Leon. I'd also like to bring in McKelty and Maddie. And I would like to see what occurred there. What are the pains and the angst? Because there's some other things that we'll talk about down the line that went on with Christine and McKelty that I also think are being brushed under the carpet. And I feel like that whole group, I'd love to see a group therapy session. To me, that's the episode we need. I don't need to talk about what happened 2 years ago with this family. I don't care. What I would love to see is these women, and also some of these older daughters that seems to be the most stress and concern and frustration. I'd like to see some sit down therapy, and I'd love to see that. It doesn't mean that like McKelty, for instance, and Mary would be besties after, but number one, I think it would be good for McKelty to express why she feels the way she does about Mary. And also, it would give Mary an opportunity, if she does feel some remorse or some empathy around the situation, a safe space and a platform to offer a real apology to McKelty, where McKelty, she doesn't have to necessarily accept it, but she can no longer play victim and use it as something to pedestal herself off of, which she tends to do. Once you start addressing those concerns and somebody takes atonement and they start utilizing their empathy tools and they start actually apologizing for things, it's on you at that point to either say, even if you don't accept the apology, I'm going to move on from the angst surrounding it. I'm no longer going to speak about you in vain, because you clearly, although I may not accept it, you clearly understand the impact, right? Tell me what y'all think, but I just think that that would be very necessary, and I would love to see that. Continuing on this segment, y'all, Cody makes it about himself. He oh, I said he says he was put over in the corner on the wedding. I'm like, give me a break, bro. Like, you did not want to be next to the other wives, so you purposefully had yourself over there. Like, you and Robyn, all the delusion. I'm so over all the delusion. Cody says then he didn't want to talk to Janelle. Like, in this moment, this is this woman's child getting married. Get it together. Figure it out. You absolutely should be talking to Janelle when her son that she had with you is getting married. All you continuously bringing up all your other divorces and everything else that's going on. We don't care. Grow up, bro. Like, grow up. He's so childish. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to watch his behavior. Oh my God. It's exhausting for me. Cody then says, he goes, this is what I said. And this one I said, he's childish. He could fix this if he really wanted to. I'm trying to think, it's so far gone at this point, I don't think he can fix it. Like, the time limit in which he could have fixed these broken relationships, I think the time has passed, y'all. I don't know if at this point he can go back and do a repair. And this was 2 years ago. So do you think he's done anything from now until today? I doubt it. I doubt he's done anything. Then he goes, I think people were trying to look like they were having more fun than me. So you're telling me people have nothing better to do, Cody, at a party than to think about how they can demonstrate that they're having more fun than you? Like, you said that with a straight face on camera? I'm embarrassed for you. That's embarrassing. Moving on. He goes, those that were my partners are now like enemies. And for me, I thought, well, when you chose not to actively partner with them is when you open the door to a feeling of a lack of intimacy, a lack of connection, which ultimately probably feels like now they're your enemy because they're not on your side. But once you stop partnering with them, which we all witnessed in multiple seasons now, when you stop partnering with these women, I don't know why you would expect for them to be empathetic about for you. I don't know why you would believe that. Ultimately, you basically neglected these women, neglected Janelle, neglected Christine, their children, and then at the end, you're believing, well, we could just walk away and be best buddies after this. Like he says about Christine, well, I don't know why we couldn't just walk away and be buddies from it. You have been neglecting that relationship for years, and you think you're just going to be able to walk away. And then on top of that, you neglected her children on multiple occasions. Once you did Isabel the way you did and did not show up for her when she needed that surgery, and then you made a valiant effort to show up for your friend's wedding within a month or so time period, tells me everything I need to know, told Christine everything that Christine needed to know, that y'all was done. There was no friendship after that. It wasn't like you guys came and sat together and said, hey, you know what? I care about you, but this ain't working. You just basically threw in the towel and just absolve yourself from any accountability and responsibility when it came to Christine and her home and her children. You just basically said, I'm over it. Hence why she's probably filing papers on you now to get child support, because you're clearly a deadbeat. Moving on, y'all. It is time for now segment 2. Okay, segment 2. They're back. They're back in Flagstaff now. Y'all, Cody riding on this bike is so awkward. I'm like, is this for real? Like, why is he on this bike like this? It was so odd to me. But anyway, we're gonna start off right away. Here is your WTF moment from segment 2, right here.
Mary and I have officially broken up, I think.
Okay, y'all, look. Oh, Lord. When he says, y'all, Mary and I are broken up, I think. What? I need a drink. There's some liquor in this. I wish there was. You and Mary are broken up, you think. So that whole breakup conversation was what? What was that? When Robyn was there crying about the porch she wasn't going to sit on anymore, what was that? That wasn't a breakup conversation? When Mary actually used the words breakup conversation? Y'all. So when Mary called you to say, hey, I'm going to the church to get this marriage absolved, that wasn't a breakup conversation either? I'm going to tell you guys right now, this man gaslighting Mary continuously, I see exactly why Mary looks so crazy. Because he just tried to gaslight the viewing audience with that. You knew, everybody knows this relationship is over. So what are you talking about? You maybe broke up. What? He's delusional. It's crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy, y'all. Oh, why am I watching this? Because I love you. And I want to talk to you about it. But also, this is crazy. Oh, moving on. Saul Ari. I basically said they're not tracking because Robyn contributed to this, basically. I basically said Robyn contributed to them not having a relationship with their siblings. It's on Robyn and Cody. Full stop. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear them say it's other kids. Robyn, you had ample opportunity to make a connection with Ari and Saul and these kids. When you had these children, you knew that there was going to be an age gap, and you knew it was going to be a little bit more difficult to make sure that they connected with their other siblings. So full stop with that. When she brings up, oh, I have to tell them, well, why didn't they send me a birthday card, or why weren't they here? So why are your kids asking that? Why are your kids asking that? I'm sitting here thinking to myself, unless my parents brought up that somebody was supposed to be there or supposed to be in my life, it's very rare that I would be asking about a birthday card or why they didn't call or anything like that. Unless it's something that I had before and now I'm missing, or if it's something that my parents brought up as what they should be doing, but they're not doing it. The only person I can think of like that is my mom's dad, my grandpa, my mom's side, who would call and promise that he was going to see us or blah, blah, blah. We never heard from the dude. The man's never sent me a birthday card in his entire life. He's never called me for my birthday. I have never seen him on a birthday. I didn't see him until I was in my 30s, and he was senile and couldn't have a conversation with me. I have no desire to see him again. That's not the same situation as these kids. They were born into this family with siblings that love them, and they had a mother that isolated them from them because ultimately it would allow for her to continue to make them victims, to make herself a victim. And I almost feel like it's Stockholm Syndrome at this point. It's giving Stockholm Syndrome. Lord, y'all. So Cody, in this moment, Janelle, not Cody, but Janelle calls out the separation and how her kids didn't feel comfortable at Robyn's home, which we've talked about multiple times, how they felt like they couldn't eat food there, they couldn't go in the fridge there. Now, I will say, I don't know the child rearing that was occurring in Janelle's home and Christine's home. It felt a lot looser than what was probably happening in Robyn's home and what was obviously happening in Mary's home. And it could have caused a lot of the issues and concerns we see today. This is why we tell people when they get married, culturally, you need to be aligned with how you're going to be raising your children. This also happens when you have interracial relationships, where culturally, how you raise kids, how you discipline can be completely different, and it can cause a lot of issues and strife in relationships. These three women clearly had different ways in which they were disciplining and raising children. These four women, right? I don't know if I'm gonna put all of my blame on Robyn with this situation, because I honestly genuinely think in this moment that Robyn just had a different way of parenting than Janelle and Christine did. I think Janelle and Christine were more aligned because frankly Janelle was a little bit absent when it came to parenting and Christine was in charge of her children for the most part, and it felt more like Mary and Robyn were more aligned with how they disciplined. And I could see there being concern and strife and stress surrounding that. And but also, this is what happens when you blend families and you don't take the time to really make sure you are aligned when it comes to how you raise children and how you discipline children. This also continuously caused strife between Robyn and Christine because Christine wanted to raise her kids, and I bet Robyn's like, your kids act like hooligans. I don't want you raising them. Now they came out okay. Her kids for the most part came out okay. But I think for Robyn, it was not a good fit for her. And I think it's okay to feel that way. But also, I'm not going to marry into a family where the child rearing, the main child rearer, which was Christine, I would not marry into a family where her and I were not aligned with how you raise kids. Because look how much stress was caused by that disconnect. And Cody was too narcissistic to see just how big of an issue that would eventually be, how much concern that would cause. He was so worried about himself, he didn't even bother to think about how something like how you raise children and how you discipline would have such a negative impact on his family. And as we see now, it just did not end. All right, y'all. So, oh, Lord. Segment 2 was a doozy for me. Okay, so you guys remember back in last episode, Aurora says that somebody told her that she really wasn't a member of the family and like she wasn't blood related or whatever the case. When I hear about the issues concerning the separations between Janelle and Christine's kids and Robyn, I could absolutely easily see somebody like Peyton saying this to Aurora. If I had an interview right now, I could bet money that it was Peyton that said that. And I think if Peyton was mad at seeing his dad have a relationship with Robyn, which I could very much see Peyton being mad about that, I could just see him telling Aurora, you're not even really my sibling. I could just absolutely see it. I need Peyton to do a video and let us know if he actually said that, because I just have a sneaky suspicion that he did. Y'all, as this segment moved on, Cody's saying that Ari at some point told him she doesn't like Christine. And and for me, his response to that is, well, she has a certain level of loyalty. This is a very sick response, y'all.
I remember Ari just making a little statement one time. I don't like Christine. And I kind of corrected her to say, you don't know her at this point well enough to like her or not. Well, she left Dad and I don't like her.
And it's mainly because he continues to make himself out to be a victim. So the fact that he hears a child say that, and his response is, this is her being loyal, that's her loyalty response, is really sick to me. It just shows you how toxic these relationships are. The relationships are very toxic. That was very concerning to me. also too, Janelle speaks in this point where her children really, um, oh yeah, so the loyalty point. Anyway, so just kind of making Ari the victim, basically saying she was mad at Christine because Christine left Cody. That also says to me that Cody and Robyn at some point were speaking ill of Christine around Ariella for her to even have a negative connection to Christine and Christine moving. We watched Christine explain to Ariella on film why she was leaving, what was happening. It was very nice and sweet and thoughtful. It was nothing that she could have been mad about. So I'm telling you now, she's heard many conversations with her dad for sure, and I'm assuming Robyn too, surrounding Christine leaving. And I know why, because I'll give you a perfect example of why I know this. I had a little cousin years ago. This was during the Casey Anthony trials. Most of us were watching day and night what was going on. We're watching the news. We're seeing people like Nancy Grace say that Casey Anthony is a terrible human, a terrible parent. You know, nobody was on Casey Anthony's side, right? I still think she killed her kid, but that's neither here nor there. Anywho, we were on a family vacation, and my little cousin, I don't know how the topic of Casey Anthony even came up, but he just flat out, without being propositioned, said, "I hate Casey Anthony." And his face, the anger in his face, y'all, I was just like, "What?" He was like, "I hate Casey Anthony." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "She killed her kid and she left her kid and didn't care. I hate her." And I'm thinking to myself, number one, I know his mom and dad, my aunt and uncle. I know for a fact that they were not running around talking about I hate Casey Anthony. And even if they were saying that, I can guarantee you most of the information he got was probably from watching television and seeing people have negative things to say. And if you're not really thinking about how much information your kids are absorbing when you're looking at just news. I can guarantee you at that point my family's probably watching Nancy Grace talking endlessly about how much she hated Casey Anthony, how terrible Casey Anthony was. And now these 6-year-olds are talking about they hate Casey Anthony. So needless to say, I'm just thinking Ari has heard other people around her say they hate Christine. It could also be her siblings, her sisters, saying that they're mad and they hate Christine for leaving. Tell me what you think in the comments, but that's what I think happened. Then Cody, this is a weirdo situation. Then Cody talks about how when he would try to leave, Ariella would be hanging onto his leg for like dear life, screaming and crying. Robyn's reaction would be, "Hey, you need to let her have her feelings and you need to like be her with her when she's having these moments," because she would not let him go and she would be sad and upset and furious when he was leaving to go see his other wives. And he would explain to her, "Well, I got to go see the other wife." Obviously, you're not explaining well enough. Janelle says that like there was never really good proper like a management of expectation when it came to what polygamy would look like for these kids. Like the kids were never Robyn's kids were never fully explained to properly what it would look like as a kid that has a father that's a polygamist.
I always felt like that Cody and Robyn mismanaged the situation with her children. He couldn't be away for more than 3 or 4 days because Ari just gets so sad or whatever. I'm like, I feel like that was poor parenting.
And I think the difference is that the other kids grew up all together in one home. So they didn't have that type of separation at that age from their father. And then the ones that did have that separation, I think we're starting to see the impact of that. But they basically still had an example through their older siblings of what it looks like when you are in a polygamous family and you don't have consistent access to your father. Because as soon as Truly was pushed out, Cody still wasn't there because he was married to Robyn. He already has started pulling away from Christine, not really showing up for Christine. And not long after, what was it, less than a year later, Robyn was already knocked up with Solomon. So there really wasn't a grace period for Christine, right? So I just found that interesting, something to think about. The management of expectations for each kid when it came to polygamy. When you look at Aurora and you look at, was it Brielle or Brianna? Whatever her name is. There was clearly no expectation or management of what it looks like when you have a polygamist for a father and how absent he would actually be. And Robyn didn't as well. I think Robyn was irresponsible with that. Which brings me to my WTF moment. Another one
She
right
loves
here.
her dad. She wants to be around her dad. Yes. But did it ever stop Cody from going to another mom's home? No, it didn't. I wouldn't have allowed it.
Y'all, Robyn says she did not stop Cody from seeing his kids. She would not have allowed it. That's a lie. You absolutely would. Cody's delusional to think that these relationships are going to basically just come back together. There's way too much dysfunction. But I'm just looking at Robyn talking about, I would not have allowed that to happen for him to not be there for his kids. No, that's exactly what you did. You let this happen. You let it happen, girl. You just don't want to now admit that you let this happen. It doesn't feel good, I know, but you let it happen. That was segment 2. Long one. Quickly moving along, y'all. Segment 3 is super short. This is basically Mykelti getting checked prior to her labor, finding out that now her babies are breech. There's no really way to really shift a baby when you have 2 in there, so she's going to have to go ahead and have a C-section. Really scary. I actually kind of felt a little bit bad for Mykelti because that's a lot, and I just wanted her to have a safe, healthy, happy pregnancy. When you saw her belly, y'all, just the stretch marks, just the stretching, I could see why she's like, I'm never having another kid again. This is miserable. Some people's bodies really more like metamorphose when they like have kids. Like some people's bodies just don't handle pregnancy well. Some people just look like cute, beautiful angels. They just have like a little cute bump. Like y'all remember when Robyn was pregnant? It was like you could barely tell Robyn was pregnant. She just had like a cute little bump and then pops out the baby and went back to normal. Mykelti, even Christine, their bodies don't really do that. You can tell that the way they carry those babies, it's a very exhausting experience for them. And I see exactly why Mykelti's like, I'm not doing that no more. You also can tell in these confessionals, like the time difference of when these are filmed, because Mykelti is super thin, like her face, and even in some of these, Tony is thinner too when they started doing their weight loss. So it's amazing how you can tell in the face immediately when people are losing weight. So just another shout out to Mykelti and Tony. It's not easy to lose weight. I like to lose a solid 50 myself. So shout out to them for making it happen and making that work. I'm really excited for them. I also thought during this time period, y'all, that it was interesting that in the clip where they did a throwback clip to where Cody was in the room with Christine prior to delivery of Truly, and he's talking about, hey, do you know about a good fertility doctor? Because at that point, Mary was maybe looking into maybe doing IVF or what their options were. And then we all thought that was weird. Like your wife here is about to have labor and you're bringing up another wife's infertility is an odd flex in a weird situation. And even the doctor at that point was like, why are you bringing that up? And I'm glad that he called that out because I knew Christine would not call that out. Like she didn't want to look like they were selfish. And also it's funny in this point that Cody says that Mary and Christine have always had a close relationship. And I'm like, have they? Because now they're like not even in all in speaking terms. So why is that? Again, I need I need Christine. I need the OG3 in a therapy session. I need those oldest daughters in that same therapy session. And we need to work some things out because obviously at some point y'all were in a good space. I'm not saying you'll be perfect after, but now that you've removed Cody from this equation, I think there could be a lot of healing that occurs there. And contrary to popular belief, having more people in your corner is actually in your favor. I think they all could benefit from having a healthier relationship all around, especially for Mary. Just the isolation for Mary, it feels really weird. And I also think too, when it comes to Leon, that Leon also gets a bit of that because of the disconnect with Mary. So I'm like, if you can forgive other people, why can't we figure out something with Mary? I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, but that's just something I thought was interesting. All right, y'all, moving on. Segment 4, Mykelti has her twins, y'all. Again, Robyn's talking about not wanting drama. Robyn, nobody's bringing drama but you. Nobody's talking about drama but you. It's you, it's you, it's you. Full stop, it's you. It's like it's in your head. Nobody else is thinking about this but you. And if you didn't act so weird and awkward, I think it would be so much easier. Just act normal. Like, just the experience all around would be different if you just acted normal and like let it go. Just like get out of the victimhood, and I think you'd have a totally fine experience when it came to Christine. Oh, they also talk about McKelty having a mirror set up so she can actually see what's happening when she's getting her C-section. I'm sorry, y'all. There was no way I would want to actually see myself being physically cut up. Like, absolutely not. I would not at all want to see that. I think it's crazy as hell that Christine and McKelty think that's so cool and fun and they want to see themselves be cut up. Why? I do not understand. Like, I cannot handle a Saw movie. So why would I want to see my own physical Saw movie occurring while I'm focused on my kids coming out healthy? No, thank you. Okay, but here is my WTF moment. Let's pop it in right here.
As far as Christine is concerned, I just made a decision very early on that I was going to put aside any of my hurt, my sadness, or my feelings of betrayal, and just that's between Christine and I.
Okay, y'all, look. Why does Robyn feel betrayed, y'all? Can you tell me, why does she still feel betrayed? Like, just give me a break at this point. And also, to not making excuses for why McKelty keeps bringing Robyn into this, for me, like, I'm going to say it again, y'all, like, this situation happened because Christine had no help from Cody, right?
With McKelty.
When Robyn first joined the family, I was trying to figure out who I was, and she made me feel special, and she made me feel seen. Robyn was there for me when I needed somebody. She was there for me when I needed somebody to hear me, to love me. Robyn gave me a chance to be heard.
So McKelty was basically left kind of like a floating child because she wasn't as good of a resource because she was a little immature as Aspen was. She couldn't be parentified properly by Christine because she wasn't as mature. But she was mature enough for Robyn and her children and her needs. So she could be parentified by Robyn. And it's cloaked in this fake aura of support and being seen and loved by Robyn. It's really weird to me. I'm just gonna say this out loud, y'all. I think Christine and Cody just really failed there when it came to McKelty. Like, I'm sorry, I just think it was a pure failure. I believe this is why I believe also that you should not have this many children, even if you have sister wives, because ultimately someone will always fall through the cracks when you have this many kids. Like, somebody will be a lost soul kind of floating out there. And honestly, I have yet to hear Christine or Cody really own this gap. In fact, they just say, oh, well, yeah, Robyn was there. Why was Robyn there? Why was there a gap for Robyn to be there? Oh, yeah, because you and Cody dropped the ball when it came to McKelty. That's why that was there. I feel like I literally feel like I'm officially watching a soap opera. Like, it's a real life telenovela at this point. Like, watching all this happen is just a full-blown telenovela because it really demonstrates for me, like, when you talk about value, how Robyn sees value and the value that she placed on her relationship with McKelty. It's just so that she could continuously play the victim and highlight herself as some kind of martyr. And I'm just not here for that. And I cannot give it any more energy. I cannot give it any more energy. So anyway, y'all, they weren't weirded out because they never received like individual attention, good or bad. Like, that's just something that I kind of noticed. And it said I had a new baby and a mother was jealous. That's what Cody says. Like, when he had his new baby with Janelle when Logan was born, Cody basically said that another wife was jealous. Well, yeah, because that's what happens in a normal plural marriage, that there are going to be instances that you're celebrating something specific happening with you and another wife, and more than likely, even if they believe in the faith, that other wife is going to have some level of jealousy. I feel like that feels pretty normal to me. Also, Christine talks about in this moment that she gives McKelty all this credit for bridging the gap between the families, like between Cody and Robyn and Christine and everybody. Listen, I don't think there's any gap bridging that's happening. Ultimately, I just feel that Christine feels guilty when it comes to McKelty. So really feels guilty on the neglect that happened when it came to Mykelti, especially during her formative years. So I think that's why she tries to give all this extra credit and attention to Mykelti now, because I think she understands that she ultimately dropped the ball when it came to her. But y'all, that's the episode. That's how it ended. There was actually quite a bit going on. I had to take a lot of notes. I'm actually mildly exhausted from all the notes that I took. I'm sure there's many more things that I could talk about, but that's why we end up having lives, so we can actually chat together as a Red Lipstick Club family and talk deeper about all the different things that occurred in these episodes, because there's no way one review I can cover it all, honestly, because this review would be like 2 hours and we don't have time for that. We want a cute little less than an hour overview, so y'all can chat in the comments. Let me know how you think. Tell me what you thought about the episode. It was a moment. I appreciate you all. We'll be back next week for episode 4. Should be good. We'll see. I need them to just move this on. This is so behind, y'all. Why is this so behind? It's stressing me out that this show is so behind. Like, moving along. We'll see. Decent episode, though. Had a good time. Hey, if you're new here, once again, hit the subscribe button. Come back, hang out with us. You guys have a great time here. We're going to talk about everything Sister Wives. We're going to go through the entire season. We will be doing lives through the season as well to make it even more fun. And you'll have some more one-on-one interaction with me. So hit subscribe. So down the line, when those things occur, guess what? You can put your notifications on, and you'll actually be able to alert yourself and let yourself know when you can actually join the party. Hit the like button so people actually love Sister Wives can actually come and see what we're doing over here and join the fun. Love you all. Thanks for joining Red Lipstick Club. Talk to you later. Bye.